Hello, my name is Zahara Gonzalez, and I will be doing my oral presentation on A Streetcar Named Desire. I will be discussing two different adaptations, the 1947 A Streetcar Named Desire play written by Tennessee Williams and the 1951 film adaptation written by Tennessee Williams in collaboration with Oscar Saul, Elia Kazan, who also directed the Broadway production and the film. So a brief synopsis. The story follows Blanche Dubois, a woman seeking refuge with her sister Stella in New Orleans, having lost her family estate, Belle Reve, her young husband, her job, and her reputation. So Blanche arrives emotionally fragile, clinging to illusions of fantasy and beauty and of what she once had. She clashes a lot with Stella's very domineering, very animalistic, brutish husband, Stanley. And as tensions rise, Blanche ultimately is raped by Stanley and in the end committed to an asylum. So the film cast includes Marlon Brando as Stanley Kowalski, Kim Hunter as Stella Kowalski, Carl Malden as Mitch, and these three reprise their roles from On Broadway. And they were joined by Vivien Leigh, who is best known for playing Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. And although she did not reprise this role from On Broadway, she was part of the original London stage production. So, storytelling. So the core narrative remains largely consistent between the play and the 1951 film, but changes were made due to 1950s Hollywood censorship, the production code. For example, the suicide of Blanche's young husband is due to her telling him that she knew about his homosexuality and that she is disgusted by him, and this was completely left out of the film. There was a bit of an acknowledgement towards it, but not at all. The ending was also altered. In the film, Stella leaves Stanley, and this change was made to meet moral standards of the time, whereas in the play she stays with him. So Blanche's arrival was also different. In the film, Blanche meets Stella at the bowling alley, unlike in the play, where she arrives directly at the Kowalski residency, where we spent the entire play, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. This change, honestly, I really loved. It allowed the audience to experience New Orleans, and we got to see Blanche out of her element, truly. And really in that gritty reality that she now faces. So, moving on, one thing I did notice was that scene 4 was adapted differently into the film. In the film, we don't get the humorous phone scene where Blanche doesn't know how to use dial phone, and I can totally see why it might have disrupted the film's tone and pacing. The introduction of Shep Huntley also doesn't happen until later in the film and not in scene 4 where it was adapted in the film. I don't know if that made any sense. I hope it did. So, visual elements. The play relies heavily on dialogue to show Blanche's mental decline, aka like Shep Huntley being introduced very early on and her kind of rambling about these fantasies and illusions she's creating, versus in the film we kind of get that, but from visual storytelling. So we have a lot of lighting symbolism. In the bowling alley scene in the very beginning of the film, we see Blanche and her fear of exposure and of confronting reality in her reunion with Stella as she pushes light away, and I will play that for us right now.
Baby. Oh, would you like some pop?
Honey, Pop. Oh, not with my nose tonight. The scotch for me, please.
Oh, great.
You haven't asked me how I happened to get away from school before the spring term ended.
I thought you'd volunteer that information if you wanted to tell me.
You thought I'd been fired?
No, I thought you might have resigned.
Oh, I was so exhausted by all I've been through, my nerves broke. I was on the verge of lunacy almost, so...
Great. And in this next scene with Mitch, we see the use of shadows and soft lighting to reflect her mental state and her desire to live in illusion.
Obscure meaning in this, but I failed to catch.
What it means is I've never had a real good look at you, Blanche. Let's turn the light on in here.
Which light? What for?
This one here with this paper thing on it.
Oh! What did you want to do that for?
So that I can take a look at you good and plain.
Of course, you don't really mean to be insulting.
No, just realistic.
I don't want realism, I want magic.
Magic.
Yes, magic. I try to give that to people. I do misrepresent things. I don't tell truth. I tell what ought to be truth, and if that is sinful, then let me be punished for it. Don't turn the light on.
Oh, I don't mind you being older than what I thought, but all the rest of it. Oh.
Great. And in this last scene, we get the element of music. So music it plays during moments of hallucination and mental collapse. This scene specifically is a callback to the inappropriate relationship she had with her student, which cost her job. And it really showcases her desires and her inner turmoil and inability to escape her past. I also love the use of
Evening, man.
light and shadow in the scene.
Oh, well. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm collecting for the Evening Star.
I didn't know that stars took up collections.
Oh, it's a paper, man.
I know. I was joking, feebly. Will you have a drink?
No, man. No, thank you. I can't drink on the job.
Well, now, let me see. No?
Great. So this concludes the end of my oral presentation. Thank you so much for listening.